Sorry for the delay. Just wanted to say hello, everyone. Welcome if you're watching and whatnot, and wanted to say that I still live. Now, when I say I, there's someone else who still lives I'd like to introduce to you. It's Wicked, crying.
It's me.
What?
It's me.
Wait, you're alive too?
We live. We made it.
we were joking.
What happened to us?
Before we start, because there's going to be questions, why don't you tell people what you've been? August is the busiest month of the year for me. I think everyone knows that who watches my channel.
Right.
And I'm serious. This is the first night I could stream since my Q&A earlier last month. There's no time. And seriously, I should be doing other stuff right now, but I wanted to do it. Plus, I get questions all the time about what happened to Chris Nelson and panic. So why don't you go ahead and explain to us, where have you been and how do you still look good?
Do I? Well, I invented time travel, and I just skipped right over to this video from whatever it was we taught class. Yeah, it's funny, Matt. You know, you for years have been so consistent, right, in people's. That's
going to be their first question. That's going to be everyone's first question. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say. I mean, you know, for years you have been multiple times in people's, each week people's YouTube feeds, right? And yeah, it's funny. This has been a bit of a Matt drought or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I've just been away a lot this summer, and I just, you take breaks, and I've been away, and I have to say, it is like, it's nice to be away from social media too, and YouTube and things like that. Well, the weird thing too was I was definitely like, I literally went away. Like I went up to the North Woods. I was like away on vacation. I was like out of range.
Yeah.
And I mean, we texted a couple times, but like usually like late, right? I would respond like half a week later. Half my messages to you didn't even ultimately go through. So I've got all these like errors and stuff. So I kept trying to send the same joke to you over and over. I don't know in what order you got my my messages, but anyway, yeah. Coincidentally too, like as is often the case on social media, I had some like trolls kind of come out of the woodwork. There was a guy who started putting the same message on my videos. And then I noticed when I blocked him, he put them on every other video I've ever appeared on someone else's channel. Right. So there's just weirdos out there. And I kind of thought, you know what, what a perfect time to sort of just sort of disappear, so, but here I am, I'm back again, providing perfect fodder for this person to once again tell me how stupid they think I am, so.
Oh my goodness. That's
you may be right,
so. I may get some of that because on one of my videos, someone said, you're dumb. George Lucas never considered the EU canon. I'm like, I remember, I'm done arguing that. You're just just a moron at this point. You don't want to do it.
Right.
Take a time for a nice insult by Steve, who I did stream with early last month, and I enjoyed, and I haven't been back since. That's Dylan. He's so mean. Oh, when I first heard about what happened to his channel, I was like, I don't know. And I texted Dylan and said, Dylan, have you heard from Chris? He went, he's on vacation. That was it. Like what? Dylan just, my favorite Ninja Turtle is Raphael. Chris, do you have a favorite Ninja Turtle?
I haven't thought about that in a long time. I used to like Michelangelo, but I sort of think like the older I've gotten, like the less I like him. It's kind of like, have you ever watched the old Dennis the Menace cartoon show? When I was a kid, I loved that, and now I can't stand him. And I think like Michelangelo is probably too silly for me now. So I think Raphael's a pretty good choice.
Raph, I always like Raph, but that's because I like the color red, and then I just instantly just attach myself to Raph afterwards. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I
had a troll tell me that I use the word decanonization too much, and that's not even a word to begin with. And I'm just thinking, where do you go from there? So
I'm just done. They just stick their fingers in their ears, ignorant, because the quotes are all there. It's right in front of them, and all they want to do is just hurl insults. They have no facts. They have nothing to quotes to back it up. They just want to hurl insults, so they're just wasting time. I'm not going to waste my time on them. You know what? I want to, and I know people have given me some ideas, but there's nothing really that's appealing. In fact, I don't have an idea of what's going to happen in September right now. Someone's asked for top 5 droids or top 10 droids. Folks, I can name 2 off the top of my head that I really liked, and that's it. And what was the other one? Someone said ships, and I was like, no, I can't remember. There's something else that one of them said, and I was like, no, So I just don't know. I'll come up with something. I got to wrap my head. But August was such a busy month. I'm kind of caught unprepared for the month of September. Even though I might, and I'm gonna preface this with might have a huge surprise for everyone next week on the channel.
Here's a top 10 video that we've talked about for years. I would love to do at some point. It's just top 10 covers and things like that, right? Book covers, top 10 comic covers.
You know what? It's so hard to do book covers for me, because there's some I really love, but to say which ones I love more, I don't know, because they're all so unique. I mean, shoot, my top 10, can it be all the Japanese New Jedi Order covers? I mean,
Sure.
I mean, they're just so, and they're like, they just had so many nice.
Well,
go ahead.
My hot take is that there aren't 10 great North American EU covers, right? That like there's some interesting ones, and there's a lot of sort of middling ones, and there's some really bad ones. But
yeah,
it's my
hot take. So yeah, I need to be a little bit more angry and get in the camera like this, or be driving. Now he's driving cross country. It's the Ryan Reynolds tour bus. Geeks Attic. He and Geeks Attic met up. Geeks Attic even wearing that RK Outpost hat. Here you go. Watching your vids, appreciating it. Do you have those? Will you be reposting?
Oh yeah. All I did was unlist them. In fact,
yeah.
I even had folks tell me, like, I think Alex, who's in the chat, I think, like, if you had a link, then you were able to watch it all this time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Jamie, a question. I know I asked you, and I didn't know if you're being serious or not. This guy's moving from California to Tennessee. I believe it's next month or later on this month. I'm not sure. And if you are, my question to you, Jamie, is what was your route? What is your route? Because I don't know, but you may be coming my way. And if you're passing my way, I would love to see you. I'd love to see you. So we'll have to talk about that, or send me an email and whatnot. Yep. The big hater. This guy here. Sheesh. No good. It cracks me up. That's a good point. That is a good point by Stig there.
Yep.
Let's see. Or just the plot. What? I mean, he was extra confident in his abilities, but he felt like he was fulfilling a destiny. Jason was. He felt like he was. It wasn't a power trip. I wouldn't say it was a power trip. It was all about, I have to do this. My path leads to this. I mean, even at the very end, sending that warning to Tenoka, right at the end, or whatnot. I can't remember what he did. I can't remember it right now. But I mean, it's all. And then later on, of course, he appears to Luke in the pool, and he has no regrets. Right. He felt he did what he had to do, what the Force led him to do. So I would argue it was not power. But I mean, that's my perspective, Chris.
No, I agree. Yeah, no, I think
okay.
That's right.
Yeah, and the thing is, I love that about Jason, because it was perfect, because you got to put yourself in the mind of the villain, and they don't think of themselves as the villain, they think of themselves as the hero. Thrawn, which no one has a problem with, was the bad guy. But the thing is, though, he was just trying to reestablish order the correct way. The Empire was the right way to do this. It was just it just had a bunch of from the top down, it was corrupt and everything. But if we have strict order and discipline, we can do this. We can make this happen. Thrawn wasn't evil. He was just trying to reestablish what he felt was the best galaxy. Pelion the same way too. Pelion just thought the Empire, that's why he retreated into their little area of the galaxy left, because that is how the galaxy should be. And correct me if I'm wrong, during the Vong War, doesn't Pelion give some thought into what would happen if the Empire was in control? The Vong might have been eliminated from the very beginning, because they would have had their super weapons to take him out and flee. I could be making that up, but I remember him thinking, like, he couldn't help but think this wouldn't happen if the Empire was around. Which was kind of like, he's still a fan of the Empire. It had its nasty spots, but overall it was good. Because you got to see the Empire through Pellaeon's perspective several times, and the Empire wasn't evil. It was in parts. It wasn't perfect, but it had a purpose, and he believed in that purpose. And I loved that about Pellaeon. Oh, geez. Everything in Neil Smith's trilogy. I'd have to go back and read it through, but every time he yells Sabak at the beginning of a chapter, I mean, jeez, I love Lando.
I was just going to say, rest in peace, L. Neil Smith.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, just a few days ago.
That's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
That was sad. How old was he?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, old. I mean, he'd been sick for a while, I think.
Well, see, and the thing is, it's shame on me because I knew he was old, and I thought maybe if I mail off, I didn't want to mail off anything nice, but I wanted to mail off that paperback version of the Lando trilogy to him and see if he'd return mail package and see if he'd sign. And I'm sure I could have found his address somehow, and I never did. That is a big regret. That's a big regret.
He was 75, so he wasn't super old. People are living longer. But I've told you before, but just to remind folks, I sometimes get asked the question, what are some of my coolest EU collectibles? And right up there has to be that I actually have his copies of the trilogy, right? So like from him. So that's kind of cool. So stuff like that years ago, yeah. So
wow, it's awesome. Michael, I'd love to. That takes a while to set up, but I'd love to. I'd love to do that. Favorite people on YouTube, probably Alex. Anyone but Noah, actually. Alex, there's your answer. Oh, hey, Scott. How's it going? Oh, that's an interesting picture there. Winter and Admiral Akbar together. That is great. I know Stig loves that.
Lovely.
Top 10 birds. Enemy Lines, Rebel Dream. Yeah. But to be honest, for comic book covers, it gets even harder. But I would argue that Rogue Squadron issue 1 is probably the best. Breathtakingly beautiful. But no, I can't say that because then you have the Crimson Empire.
Crimson Empire, yeah.
One, which is beautiful too. Honestly, any of the art by Dave Dorman. I'm looking at my wall of art by Dave Dorman. He's just great. There's the guy that harasses me on my video. He didn't even make videos on his channel. This comes on here. Yeah, I'm telling you, Chris. What do you mean you missed my content? I'm still bringing out videos. Watch him. Top 10 Callistia moments. No one would watch it. No one would watch it. Hey, Tom. Jar Jar is not a Sith Lord. I love that theory, by the way, Tom. It's really awesome. I need my RK muscle shirt too. Yeah, I got 2 of them because the first one didn't come in. It got lost in the mail, so I had to get another one. I told Ryan, I said, "You owe me some money." He said, "Stupid TeePublic, I don't know what they're doing." But it came in later, so I have 2. I don't have his new. Then he switched his logo because he's all fancy and stuff. Yeah. You thought we saw them together at the same time, so they're the same person. Who knew? Oh, you did. Good. I love Dune. I think it's awesome. Have you, Chris? Are you a fan of Dune?
I am. Yeah, I've only read the original. Was it 5 or 6? I mean, I haven't read anything beyond, anything like Kevin Anderson or His Son is done or whatever. But yeah, I'd love to someday.
Well, Jamie, I'm off of Highway 20, so no, you're going north of me, which I thought, because I looked on a road map and said he's probably going north at some time. So you're gonna shoot, all roads lead up, I guess, when you get to that point too. That's okay. Red 5 Reviews says, "Hi guys, hello." Red 5 Reviews. Why shouldn't I did the why should for you. I did the why should for you.
Why shouldn't? That's interesting. That is interesting. I don't know if he's joking, but that is an interesting question.
Why shouldn't you read it?
Yeah.
Because you'll be sad that they haven't continued it.
I think you. That's the number one. I think you're right.
That's number one right there. You'll be mad that they didn't continue it. Toward the end, I think they would have built an understanding with Thrawn trying to use Jason, but Jason seeing right through it. I don't know. That'd have been interesting, though. Boy, you're full of hate today. This is a good question. The Comp Nor retcon helps Clone Wars inconsistencies. Yes. I think that was the plan all along, because I don't see what other route they could have taken. What he's talking about is in one of the Fantasy Flight RPGs, right before they cut away from the EU, they have a little blurb story about someone watching the Clone Wars war reports, basically the cartoon series, it's a war on Camino, the Clone Wars, it was all done like a, little highlight reel. And he was watching them and saying, hey, some of this history is incorrect. They're changing things, but it doesn't make sense why they're changing it. Is this Comp Nor interference or what? And that was something for them to say. So there you go. There's a quick little fix. Now, Fantasy Flight was very coy when I asked them about it. I couldn't find out who wrote that, whose idea it was. Mm-hmm. And all they told me was that's a way you could interpret that. Because like, look, guys, I need a yes or no. Come on. This is a good thing. I'm not complaining. They said, well, we think that's a very good. I don't. Jeremy from Stupid Chainsaw Productions was with me. He may have a direct quote. I can't remember. He's like, that's a good assumption or something. Right. That's a good thing. So, and more. I don't think they had permission to do the retcon, but that was their idea for the retcon. So that was their answer for it, which I think probably was good, and maybe Leland Shee would have done something like that. But Chris, what do you think?
I think the Comp Nor, I think it would have been a whole. I mean, this question is very interesting, but you have to boil it down to like which inconsistency, because of the menu of inconsistencies. I think they would have had a number of different, solutions for each, and I think some of it could have been a little bit like what Wizards of the Coast stuff did from time to time with the old Marvel comics, which was to sort of say that happened, but it happened like there's this, I forget the example, but there's this great example where one of the Marvel comics X-Wing sort of like battles ends up actually being a story told X-Wing trainees, right? You find out later in the Wizards. So I think things like that, I think they would have happened. It turns out it was just a story, right? Or, what you would have learned in a true, classical sense of the word retcon, like you would have just learned something new about that fact, i.e. It was a story or the date was wrong, right? So whether that would have been Comp Nor or not, I don't know, but I think they would have found ways like that.
Interesting. All right. That was a great moment there. I believe that was Black Fleet Crisis. And I loved it too, because they're squeezing through grates and stuff and moving together. I remember it was so cool. That's another reason why Black Fleet Crisis. Oh yeah, it was Black Fleet. Okay, good. I was thinking, man, if I say that now, I'm double thinking myself. So was it Corellian Trilogy? I know it happened in a Bantam book, but there you go. Got 70. Black Fleet, fantastic. I do like Black Fleet Crisis. Claimed that Luke was bad at the Force because he didn't want to leave the farm, even though he talked about leaving it for 20 minutes in the movie. I don't even bother with people like that who just want to spout off. That's just opinions is all they're doing there. Bring it. I'd love to. I'd actually love to. I'd be civil too. If she wanted to laugh about if she wanted to call me a Taliban too again, we'd be fine with it. I'd be fine interview. She's fine. By the way, folks, Noah is trying to get Troy Denning on his live stream to interview him. That's his favorite author, if anyone didn't know. He is a Denning big fan. Let me see. I told him next time I see Denning, I'm going to get him an autograph.
But by the way, Travis has now more in common with us than she ever did, right? That's the interesting thing. So we're now all on this side of the Lucasfilm fence, right? So
right. She's not a Filoni fan either. Ooh, is that an unpopular opinion? I would believe so. Not that the Hand of Thrawn was terrible. I thought it was good, but I don't know. I like the original Thrawn trilogy better.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let's see. This isn't my old EU videos. Yeah. I mean, someone a long time mentioned to do like all the TV episodes, but goodness gracious, that forces me to watch Clone Wars again. Not that it's bad. I could point out some of the stuff I really liked about it too. But the thing is, though, for time, and I just felt that's too much into what I'm doing. And I don't know if you know this, but Star Wars Timeline's YouTube channel, he's doing it for droids, which I thought was really fun. The droids cartoon. Star Wars, do it. Do it. Write something on it, Stig. I'd post it on the site. I'm serious. Video games is my weak spot. I don't know anything about the video games. I know a little. I cobbled together a little bit of the story. And if anyone, I've been begging for this. If anyone knows about Old Republic, Knights of the Republic, the storyline, the in-depth, they want to give more about it, I'm willing to read that. But video games for Star Wars, I didn't read that much. He couldn't find the red Lando Calrissian adventure books for you. Okay.
I know. I don't know if you got my message. Yeah, we talked about this. It's too bad. But yeah, if you ever see it out there, let me know. I will, yeah. A message for any EU bounty hunters out there. The red paperback.
The red one. The red one.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even know about. Mary Jo Duffy is great. She gets some flack for not being as good as the Archie Goodwins and stuff that came before her. But remember, she was holding the candle when everyone had left Star Wars. Like the fandom was really moving on. The sales were lagging, and she just kept trucking on and came up with some great stories.
Yep.
The Nagai invasion was her and stuff, and that was and she really and there's some kooky stuff that she did too, but overall, Mary Jo Duffy wasn't that bad. And she really was excited to see 108, like a good ending, because she knows that she was just told, hey, 107's it. She went, wait, what? They just outright just canceled it. So.
Although, remember, I did a video about there is yet another lost story that we know of, right? What 107 was supposed to be, right? And I think she got the cancellation and then ditched that. So who knows?
What didn't they give a interview with her in 108? Or was it online?
Well, I think she's interviewed in there.
Okay, but no, yeah. What you're talking about, didn't she discuss in an interview?
I don't know. I'd have to go back. I haven't read the issue.
I can't. I know that story, but I may be wrong about that. But I remember reading about that, which I thought found very interesting.
Right, I forgot about that. I lost my reading copy of 108 in the flood, so I don't know. I got to go. Yeah, I have all the other variants, but like they're all sealed, and everything. But anyway, I still have the Marvel Age advertisement for the synopsis of what 107 should be, right? So.
Yep, there it is. Hey, Tim, you're going to be visiting Tim's channel on Friday night, I believe. Hello, Greedo is biased hypocrite regarding the EU. Is that a channel? Is that a person?
Yeah, hello, Greedo. Yeah.
They're saying Blob Racing was Kevin J. Anderson's trilogy. You're probably right. You guys are right. Sorry. Okay. I see it now. I'm behind in the comments. All right. What? Keith Capel from Fantasy Flight Games, and he believed he wrote that part in the core rulebook, but it wasn't specifically with the Clone Wars in mind. However, everything they did write did get approved by Lucasfilm. Interesting. Well, when you read it, Scott, I'll be honest, I wasn't jumping to conclusions when I first read that. I remember calling Dylan and Brian and maybe even you, Chris. I said, hey, let me read this to you and you tell me what you think they're talking about. Because I had an idea. So, okay, interesting. I'd like to talk to them.
What's really interesting about this is that this has gotten over the years like more and more sort of like bold, this sort of view that this is like this magic key. And I think we've always had to walk it back with a little bit more nuance to say, if it's about this, it's just this narrow area. What's interesting about what Scott is saying is that this actually opens it up to anything, like any inconsistency in that era at all, right? Or anything prior to that, right, can just be chalked up to Compner, which is really interesting. So whereas we've tried to walk it back, we sometimes get critiques. Oh, that's too open-ended.
Right.
if what Scott is saying is right, then no, like this can work for anything, which is really cool.
That's true. What was the dumbest argument you've heard against the EU? Well, one person said that the old republic could never become. Even when they said only thousands of years instead of 10,000. He said no, that's not canon. I said yes, it is. I said, Obi-Wan Kenobi told Luke that the Jedi had been serving for over 1,000 generations. He went, "Can you give me the quote? Where did you read that?" I said, "In A New Hope, the movie. What is wrong with you?" I'm quoting the movie, dumbass. That was probably the most ignorant thing I'd ever. And the other one was when I talked about my 3 things I'm done talking about the Boba Fett retcon that they post on StarWars.com. The guy goes, "Do you have the link to StarWars.com?" Go to StarWars.com and scroll down. It's on their front page. Right. I couldn't believe the absolute laziness. They didn't even want to look it up. And I said, StarWars.com, link, please.
The weirdest thing I heard, I'm not gonna call the person stupid, but they were clearly radically misinformed. But it was the weirdest thing that they thought. I saw this on the YouTube channel a couple of years ago. They said that they claimed, and they weren't trying to make some new case. This is just what they thought. They thought that Episode 1 was the beginning of a new. They thought that the EU had been decanonized as a result of the prequels existing. So they thought that this had all happened. Had you ever heard that before? Anyway, this was just something that he was trying to pass out. Anyway.
No, yeah, that's good. The last Clone Wars episode I saw was the last one that came, the Lost Episode DVD, whatever the last one on that was.
Same. And actually, it's weird. I actually like that. I like some episodes in that last season. So that was probably my last 2, and I've actually rewatched some of those from time to time.
Oh, Scoundrels Cantina here. Hello. I need to email you guys. I may be available Friday, which is night or something for you, which is good for you. We'll have to. I'll hit you up. Go for it, Scott. Wait, are you done with the CCG? I don't think you are. Finish those articles, then you can go with that one. Scott has been putting up some articles on the collector's game. I never got the collectible card game, but some very interesting facts and very interesting stuff. So check that out on the website.
The most strangely neglected part of the EU, I think, besides the European RPG mags with EU content. But no one talks about the card games, and they're really, really important.
There's way more in there than even I knew.
Yeah, and it's a shame because it's virtually impossible now for anyone to go ahead and gather them up because some of them are so insane. Like when I talk about expensive, I mean it's just like you have to be a trillionaire to forget some of these things.
My buddy has a complete set.
Yeah,
he collected them when they came out, and he tried to see and the hardest one he had doubles of everything except for Naboo. He only had one set. That was the last set to come out, and everyone had kind of moved on from that point, so no one was really collecting. And he said he got lucky because he stopped collecting too, but he had enough boxes to get that one set. But that one goes for, now, as Scott, if I'm lying, you can correct me, but I think that one goes for the highest because, it was the last one to come out, and I don't think many people got it. But yeah, you're right. Collecting that now, there's way too much money.
I don't want to get in a digression, but there's a really vibrant ongoing community of people sort of continuing the game. So it's not official, right? But they're continuing. There's like an online sort of group that's continuing that story, and they're continuing to introduce new cards and new rules and stuff, which is cool. So they're keeping that part alive, and they are self-consciously part of the EU. They understand its role, which is really cool. But the other thing I'd say is one of the most valuable projects that a fan could do, it would take a lot of money and a lot of time, would be to go and create the ultimate index for fans who will never understandably be able to afford that stuff, to understand which of the cards actually matter for lore and what do they say, right? So someone really needs to index that really well. I don't think it'll ever happen. It's a massive undertaking, but that would be super cool because you don't need all the cards.
I agree.
Some you need, right? So yeah,
that would be cool. No, I don't, Alex. I don't know. Oh, Stig says he thinks he has the red one.
Yeah, that's right. It's an omnibus. That's right. Yeah. Cool. Good. I used to have it.
Yeah, Scoundrels thanks. Scoundrels Cantina, folks. If you like new canon, Bad Batch, definitely want to check them out. They're reviewing that kind of stuff. pumping out a lot of content. So especially if you're a Clone Wars fan, that's the channel for you by far. They are Clone Wars fanatics there. Okay, thanks, Stig. No, did he turn 70 today? Wow, 70? That's crazy to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did I also do a review on it? Yeah. Yeah, that one I did. All right. Whoops. I put that one back. Wow, I am so far behind the comments. Okay, hold on. Yeah. I knew what you meant. Oh my goodness. He has a second channel. Whoa.
That's good.
Hey, that's way to go. Good one. It was addressed earlier. He just had a. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, Kathleen Kennedy told YouTube to take them all down, so she personally intervened. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. So
favorite 2 ice cream flavors. Pistachio almond is number 1 by far for me, and it's really hard for number 2 because it keeps changing. But right now, butter pecan. Chris says, "I don't want your ice cream questions. Get that out of here.
Way too personal.
Way too. Greetings. Yeah, thank you for my Jedi Prince welcome. I love that. Oh yeah. We're going back to Scott, catching up with Scott's. Yeah, no, they've been fantastic. I've been really happy with all the Dylan's by the number stuff, folks, where he's kind of analyzing based on reviews off Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and Goodreads, and kind of giving you by the official reviews by fans who they think is the best book, what they think is the best author, what they think is and it's so interesting. It's so interesting. I told Dylan I'd probably have to have him on here to kind of highlight some of that stuff, because when we were talking about it, I just thought it was very cool. So that's another thing you need to check out there too.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's the arcade game that I pumped in several dollars in back in the day. In fact, if you hold on, let me get on me just a minute. If you can, oh wait, hold on, let me put this down here. That's the they used to wave when you put a quarter in, and then they jump in. That was the opening scroll there. And I've always wanted a turtle shirt, but there's so many generic looking ones, and this one was like, I've never seen. I gotta have this.
That's classic. God, I missed that game so much.
That was the best game in the world.
Like, that was the one that April O'Neil was on, like the right with their camera. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what, Ethan? I've addressed this a couple of times, but let me go ahead and address it one more time. Look at Marvel 108. Okay, it was handled by people who cared about the EU. Talking to those people, talking to Matthew Rosenberg, which I did. He and the editors and everyone there read the EU books. They wanted it to stay true to that Legends continuity. Now, when it's in the right hands of Del Rey and stuff, and the right authors, yes, I would argue that it could be good. Okay, sure, Lucasfilm would have to approve it, but overall, whose hands is in? 108 turned out great. It exceeded my expectations, and so that's the reason why I wouldn't just be like, man, anything coming out from them now would be crap. Now I don't want them doing it. I would like to see, because 108 was good. Chris, do you have a different opinion, or?
I basically agree with that. I understand people who are concerned, but I think there's just enough evidence that, based on what little they have given us, it's worked out really well. That, you know, remember that Disney isn't making the content. People who the licensees work with do. They're not going to go to this new crop of folks to be writing old stuff. They're gonna bring back folks who actually remember the old stuff. And so I say this: at the end of the day, it's moot because we're not getting anything anyway. So if they came to us to say, would you like this? The answer is always yes. Let's get that stuff in order to judge it. You know, so
yeah. Let us be the judge.
Right.
That's all we're asking. Go for it, Alex. Go for it, Alex. I'd look it over. Yeah, it's just unlisted right now.
Yeah, I have to go talk to Kathleen. I got to fly to San Francisco and convince her.
Oh, hey, those Star Wars fairy tales are gone. Nah, the Joe Bongiorno missed the boat on that one. He kicks himself, but it wasn't his fault. He just forgot. He got busy, picked it up because John Whitman offered them, I think, to him a long time ago. But now they're gone. They're gone. No one's ever really gone. It's true. The world will never know. Someday he'll reveal it, though.
No way.
There you go. Comes out. Yeah. Ranking the authors comes out. I'm so sorry, Dylan. I've read them all, so I can't remember what's posted yet and what hasn't. But I go ahead and just read it all. I've had the best time with it. So it's good stuff. You definitely want to. Definitely, it's not a shameless plug. I think they're very interesting. I think we've got a lot of interesting content. I'm happy for the content we're bringing out there. I really love it. Spencer is running through Imperial Assault and stuff, and that's been great too. And I think he's going to do something else afterwards. The newer card game he wants to review. I think I can't remember, but
right.
He told me something about it. So that wowould be the Clone Wars. The animated one that came out in theaters. I literally hung my head in shame and said, because I thought that was going to be the last Star Wars movie to hit theaters, and I was like, that's embarrassing.
Right. I don't know. Obviously I'm not objective about Star Wars, but I don't understand why people hate Attack of the Clones so much. I don't know. I know I'm just. I guess my opinions on movies aren't that interesting, but I don't think it's horrible.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's fine. Yeah. As a kid, I used to write the story in class because we had to write little stories. And I wrote this long story one time. I got an A. And I just found out that the more paper I wrote, she wasn't really reading it, and she never saw the Ewok movies. So I would just write chapters and chapters of the Ewok movies, and she just kept giving me A's because I had a vivid imagination and I had more pages than anyone else.
Well, they kind of are, right? Which one is it? Which one is? There is sort of like a novelization one, right? It's like the children's book.
Is it?
Yeah. It's the. I'm at a loss because I don't have any of them in front of me, but I mean, it's
the Caravan of Courage or the Ewoks Battle for Endor.
I think people are going to kill me in the comments, but because I don't remember anymore. But one of them, and it's not as if there's like it's not called that. It's called something else, but it's basically. The what you might call the novelization, right? It's like a kid's book. You know, I gotta look this up while you're going through other comments.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Someone's guessing your favorite's Rocky Road.
No, I can't eat Rocky Road because they usually put walnuts in it, which I can't eat. Here's
I didn't know that.
This is all fascinating, I'm sure, to people, but I didn't eat ice cream for like 30 years. I just didn't eat it, and I couldn't eat it. Like some of the stuff I'm allergic to. Which is again fascinating to the viewers here. But the other thing was, it turns out I've got really bad teeth, right? And like I finally got all of this dental work done. Come to find out, for years, my teeth were so bad, like the cold was like it hurt me, right? So it actually hurt to eat ice cream. So I had one of my first real ice creams when I was like 31 or so. Isn't that funny?
Whoa!
Yeah.
Well, there you go. There's your answer. Ice cream, a no-go. He's probably wearing a Highlander shirt, but let's check it out. Chris, what are you wearing?
I'm going to dox myself a little bit here. This is
You asked. Also, I should mention Tim is casting the EU. He knows a lot of I don't know people in Hollywood, and so I've been reading them, and they make sense. And I remember the faces of who he's talking about, but I didn't know the actor's name. I didn't know what else they'd done, and I can't put two and two together. Now, I don't want to say who he's cast yet because some of them he just sent me, and I've just recently read them, and I responded back, go, that's a great choice. I never thought of that. But when he says, I said, I could see that, but I'm just not good at putting actors to characters, and I always thought that was a great idea, casting the expanded universe. So
yeah, he's got some good ones. He's got some good ones for sure.
Yeah, he's been doing that. Yeah, it's a great shirt, isn't it? It's great. I love it. I love it. Let's see. Scroll down too far. Hold on. Let's see. Phantom Menace is your favorite prequel? I don't know what mine is. It's been a while.
That's my favorite, I think.
Yeah, it's your favorite? Okay.
Yeah.
I saw Phantom Menace 9 times in theaters because I just went with anyone who said you want to go. And then I saw Attack of the Clones 6 times in theaters. And then I saw Revenge of the Sith 3 times in theaters. And I didn't want to have that symmetry there of 9, 6, and 3. But I'd seen it twice. I said, I'm good. And then my parents, we used to do a family vacation. But right before we went on the official vacation, we'd spend a weekend at my grandmother's. And the family would all go out and watch a movie. Well, I can't remember what movie they wanted to see, but I did not want to see that movie. And so I scoured the showtimes for something else to watch, and I saw that episode 3 was still playing in this theater. It was August, and I was like, I'd watch that again over any of these movies. So I sat down and watched episode 3 one more time by myself, and I enjoyed it. So that's how I got to watch it 3 times.
Ewoks and the Lost Children. That's the children's book adaptation of which one is it? Caravan of Courage. Yeah. So there technically is. Yeah.
Well, good. No, we haven't been keeping it under wraps. In fact, I think I may be giving it away, but the next Civilized Age, I think we may be talking about supernatural encounters. Just talk about expectations and stuff and what we like. So. Let's see. Yep, there it is. There you go. Previews. Do you like Jules Verne? I don't know who that is. Who's Jules Verne?
Jules Verne's that's the name of Doc Brown's kids. Jules and Verne.
Oh, shut up. All right, didn't know that. Wait, let me see. Matt, would an Ewok Jedi Master retcon into the story? Maybe. Jeremy Irons for everyone's trying to make a guess. Now everyone's trying to guess who would play who. Let's see. All right. Hot take. A New Hope is the worst of the main 6. It's pacing up to the. Oh, I would not agree with that. I love A New Hope, but
I think it's flawless. The one that over the years has declined more and more, in my opinion, that's harder and harder to watch is actually Empire Strikes Back.
Really?
Yeah, I think the pacing and the structure of that are actually unenjoyable. I actually think Return of the Jedi is still the best.
I do too. I think Return of the Jedi is a lot of fun. I got to see, I don't know if you got to see it last year when it had its 40th anniversary.
I did. Yeah, I was the only person in the theater.
Well, me and my buddy went, and I didn't go back and watch any of the other movies, and I have not watched those movies since Disney bought Lucasfilm. I haven't watched the movies. I need to. I just haven't. And watching it again in theaters, that's how Star Wars should be seen. Mm-hmm. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're going to do that in 2 more years for Return of the Jedi, but I'm there if they do. Let's see. Oh, I think I caught up. Yeah, I have. Everyone's making guesses there. Awesome to catch up there. So when is your channel coming back?
As soon as Kathleen Kennedy gives the okay. I don't know.
Okay, so there you go, folks. I asked the question.
I need to be recanonized in her view. No, I don't really know. I'm just getting back into the swing of things. So soon, I guess. Although I got to be honest, it's nice. I mean, I don't want to be too critical here, but social media of all forms is a cesspool, and I've enjoyed the break from the the bizarre entitlement of weirdos you've never met who are nameless and faceless, who tell you that the words you use are unappealing to their ear. It's like, who cares? But,
who cares about you? Get a life. Watch something else. I don't know why. There's a billion choices. It's not like you're being forced. They're being forced to watch you. That's the thing I don't understand. If I'm listening to someone and they're a bozo, I'm not going to say so in the comments. I'm just going to quit, stop the video, and leave. I'm not going to even finish it. I don't know what the point is in that, but yeah, I don't get on social media for that reason. First off, I wouldn't keep up with it. And then secondly, I don't care. I don't care about the drama. I don't care about, oh, someone changed their status to single. What happened? I don't care. And then someone taking a picture of what they had for breakfast. In the kindest sense of the word, I don't care. I do not care. So, and I mean, it would be nice to connect to people who I haven't seen in a while, long distance people. But if anyone wants to find me, search me out, they can. And if I want to search someone out, I will. But social media, not for me.
By the way, can I just say on this topic, I'm really sad because this has been a crusade of mine for a number of years. I mean, I think like a lot of people like our age, our generation, I mean, Matt, you did a good job. It seems like on the whole, with the major exception of YouTube, you avoided social media. I got more hooked in for a variety of reasons, which makes it harder to leave, right? But
yeah,
to me, it's just an unequivocal sort of like net loss for civilization, right? And the internet probably in general,
yeah,
it set us back in a number of ways. But there are hopes out there, right? I mean, there are things that are a bit more permanent. I mean, the good news for someone like me, this pessimist, is that these things, they'll burn out, I feel like. I mean, in the long run, these things will sort of disappear. People lose their interest. They mirror society, and consequently, they're awful places, right? So they bring the worst out in everyone, but that speeds up people's resentment of these platforms, right? Enough people, I think, will. I mean, this whole rant's leading somewhere. It's nice when there's, like, say, for the sake of argument, something like, in the context of the Star Wars fandom, something like Wikipedia or theexpandinguniverse.com, a static, stable resource outside the confines of the social media space, except guess what happened recently? Wikipedia decided, after all of these years, YouTube's been around since 2005, they finally decided to start a YouTube channel. And I think that's the worst possible thing they could ever have done, right? At a time when they need to be focused on allowing legends, editors to come in and improve those articles, to keep things up to date, they're still sort of fighting, Joe and fans of Joe's about, like, whether supernatural encounters is canon or not, all this nonsense. They're investing time in what? Trying to get a little piece of that social media action because they want to be famous or something, right? And they're doing something too that I also find is very subtle but very sad. The cool thing about Wikipedia is that it's a collective fan effort, right? Of course, there are administrators who run it, but we're all editors in theory. So it's not a case of no one runs it, right? But all of a sudden, on the social media now for Wikipedia, it's like, oh, check out my video. Oh, I did this edit, and all of a sudden, it's people trying to be famous after all these years, and it's so sad. Yeah. This late in the game, when social media is dying, now they want to get on it. It just feels dirty to me, and it's just sad, So
always too little, too late.
That's
too late. So I just catching up with this. Okay. Yeah, and that the other thing, I stopped making corrections on Wikipedia years ago. I used to, and every time they'd say, you need to reference this, or you need to, I said, I did. I said it was on, and I said, look, it's on this page, but they argued every little thing and I wasn't like changing Luke's history or anything. I was explaining to them that the man whose name has a stub, and they wanted you to expand upon it. He was a deckman on the Far Star from the Dark Strider campaign, who helped Captain So-and-so get up after a alien attack of the blah 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 tribe. It's on page 47 of Dark Strider campaign, column 2. I don't know, what do you want? Why would I make that up? And it was just like every time it was like, we don't trust you. We need a reference and stuff. And I mean, I understand you got to verify. You don't want people making stuff up, but tons of ridiculous stuff got into Wikipedia. How did that get through? And then my little review of one little deckhand who has one line in one RPG, book. How's that get questioned and challenged? And I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. So now, at first I thought, this is cool. Fans with a particular knowledge can insert their expertise in all those areas. And you're right, fans made that a great site. But to be honest, when I was going through my EU in chronological order as best I know how, I very rarely used Wikipedia. They just weren't they weren't reliable.
we talk a lot about how in the good old days we used to do what every day? Go to the forums, go to right. And one of the things I used to do was I would go to Wikipedia every day because, among other things, I like to see what's the picture of the day. Because back in the day, every picture was part of our continuity, whatever. But it's just increasingly, and I'm sure I'm not the only fan, it's like you don't even think about it anymore. And it's a shame because when you do occasionally find yourself there, all these old Legends articles now, largely thanks to the Clone Wars, are on a big mess. And you can see at the top, there are all these banners that say, watch out, this content's not up to date, blah, blah, blah. And it's just scared away. And this, by the way, this is true of any wiki. And I say this as someone who's the chief editor of one of the biggest wikis on the internet. Again, I don't want to dox myself any further. I really understand why Wikipedia wanted to hold the line on citations, sources, editors, blah, blah, blah. But there's a process. And it, like most wikis, they've ended up just sort of sociologically trying to keep, gatekeep, and they've just scared people away. So yeah, forget people even editing it. Most people probably like us don't even read it, which is really the saddest thing. There should be so many more articles, right? And the articles they have should be so much bigger and more in depth by now, and they're not. And this may be, by the way, the social media thing is maybe the death grasp of what Wikipedia should be, and I don't know.
That's a great point because they aren't expanding on their knowledge. That knowledge is, those stub articles are still stubs. No one's bothering. If they were real, employees or whatnot, wouldn't you want to expand on those shortcomings? No, you're just trying to rely on someone else to do the work for you. What have you really done? I mean, if I'm just saying, if you were like Dylan, he's a numbers guy. He said that he loves doing the deep dive research. Okay, go for it. I understand it's not all your cup of tea, but if that's who you are, you're a wiki page and one that people turn to, but you never update any of your, or at least for Legends, they've stubbed. But when I think about it, I don't know if many of those stub articles ever got expanded.
No, and that's right. And by the way, I think one misconception a lot of fans have, it's not as if the people who run it, the administrators, are actively trying to keep the Legend stuff bad. I think the problem is that, because in theory, any one of us could become a good wiki editor and go there and start to do the work, right? You're going to be a martyr though, because obviously they're going to want to hold the line in a very serious way. But I think what's just sad about the fact that a lot of those stubs never grew is it just goes to show that they've a lot of us aren't even reading it anymore. Not enough folks are going there and sort of saying, oh, this should be bigger, right? So
yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah, no, that's true too. Everyone's kind of given up. Like I said, I don't even go on there as much. I used to do the deep dive research way back in the day, but for the timelines, everything's just outdated.
Yeah,
not updated. And it was just not worth it. Plus, I disagree with some of their stuff. I mean, shoot, I even said this. I even disagree with some of Joe's timeline too, and he changed his timeline at times. He wouldn't challenge me. I said, no, I'm not. I'm just saying, why do you have it here? Because it makes sense that this would happen like this, but tell me why you had it here.
But one of the things that's a nerdy thing, the thing that frustrates me the most about Wikipedia, just in terms of navigation, the sorts of things that that as administrators they could have spent more time sort of policing, are the categories for any given page, right? So if you scroll to the bottom, there's a little line called categories, and in theory, any page has a category that relates to that and articles, right? But the problem is, they never policed more specificity. So imagine there's a world in which Wikipedia, given all the resources that do exist on the site, could have spit out for you what's every children's book about Ewoks and Legends from the 80s, right? Instead, everything's just Legends books and stuff. And so when you go to these these list pages and stuff, this is why they're a gigantic mess, because despite the fact they have all these resources, they didn't do the one thing technologically that could have actually made all this stuff look pretty. And what happened in the meantime? Like you said, Joe's got timelines, Eddie's got timelines, you've got timelines, you've got videos, which is more accessible, more attractive. It is actually growing more of a fan base. And so anyway.
Right. Eddie has a Facebook, right? I don't think he has a site, right?
No, StarWarsTimeline.com.
Oh, that's Eddie?
Yeah.
Holy cow. Wow, I did not know that. I did not know that. Oh my goodness. Okay.
There was no there, yeah. So.
Yeah. Wow. Look at all this. Okay. I never checked it. I always check Joe's I'd always check. Oh, look at here we go. There's my one super chat. I guess is that
Nice.
super chat? It's
Nice.
$1. There you go. $1, nothing. I was like, I'll give $1. I'll give $1. I don't mind. That's a hard-earned dollar. That's 4
Yeah,
quarters.
that's right.
Thank you
That's
for
right.
your 4 quarters. I appreciate it. If I had those 4 quarters, I'd play this game 4 times. That's what I do with those quarters. Thank you, Alex. Here you go. Tried multiple times to compile authors in Wikipedia, the only site that has them all, but they just mix canon and legends into one category. It's so frustrating. Well, again, this is what Chris was saying. They just don't. They've let off the gas. They don't really care anymore, and so it's kind of more of a conglomerated mess than it is anything organized and could be great. I don't know how they do with new canon. I just don't know.
Yeah.
But
don't know, don't care, right? The really unfortunate thing too, and this is not entirely their fault. They had to make a really hard, editorial decision back in 2014 to do the thing where they added, a Legends version and a canon version of the same thing. But Wikipedia's Legends articles have caused more confusion than almost Lucasfilm itself about what canon is and isn't, and when it started and when it ended and stuff like that. I mean, the number of people who come to me and say things like, "Well, Son of Dathomir, it can't be both Legends and canon because the Wikipedia article just says canon," things like that, right? So people now think that Wikipedia is like an official resource. No, it's just a fan site.
Yeah, not to be quoted as fact. Yeah, like that's hilarious, Palma. Thank you. That's hilarious. That's 20 quarters, which is true story. When I was a kid, I asked to be paid in quarters when I did like little jobs here and there, yard jobs, because I wanted to spend it on this game. I'm not kidding. If they only had cash, I'd ask my mom to take me to the bank so I could get it exchanged for quarters. And I put more than $5 in that machine. I guarantee you that. But thank you, Palmer. Alex, my birthday was May 31st. You missed it. I'm kind of offended you didn't say happy birthday to me. Don't do the belated birthday thing. It's way too late for that too. But my anniversary is on the 6th. So there you go, Alex. Eddie sold off. Yeah. I think you got some of it, right, Chris?
Oh yeah. Dude, when I found that out, but it both in Nate and Eddie's case, the second I found out, I was like, there was literally like a fire trail behind me of burning rubber to rush to, because there was one thing from Nathan that I always wanted that he had, this really obscure thing. And then with Eddie, I got a bunch of stuff that I just wanted to say that I had stuff from his collection. But the really cool thing was, I did a video about it a long time ago. It's the TV Times from the UK from 1982.
Yes, that was so cool.
This was the only one I'd ever seen before, and it was always on my grail list. And I wrote him immediately, and he was super, super nice and kind of cut me a deal. Because, by the way, shipping stuff from the Netherlands is, that was the real challenge, right? So
Eddie also gave me a very hard to find magazine I'd been looking for.
What did you get? What was it?
I got one of the UK Star Wars Kids or Star Wars Clone Wars.
Oh, from like the 2014, that last
magazine. Yeah.
Those are just utterly impossible. I should have really a video of Impossibles, but
yeah, really kind guy. That's so true.
Yep. Nice. It's a bidding war.
Look at this. Yes. Fight. Give me your money. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Alex. Alex, not now, but I'll have an announcement hopefully in 2 weeks. Chris knows, but I have it. I can't wait to tell the news, but I have to wait. I have to wait for now.
I don't know how
that is worth celebrating.
By the way, Eddie, is he got rid of the Star Wars stuff to get back into Doctor Who. And, he's such a collector. He's like so obsessive. He's like going after the whole thing. And I've actually made an announcement a while back that I was going to get out of Doctor Who. So he and I were sort of like ships in the, kind of like he's giving me his Star Wars. I was helping him out with some Doctor Who stuff. I have decided, what was I thinking? So I'm back in full time on Doctor Who again. But Eddie, I think, is going to build up eventually like a Doctor Who sort of resource alongside, kind of like what he did with the EU. So Matt, one of these days we're going to get you into Doctor Who.
One of these days. Happy early birthday to Scott Johnson there. Look at it now getting super chats here, but that
Yes.
one's for you actually.
Yes.
Please be nice to Christopher.
Awesome.
We'll see. We'll see. By the way, Jules, thank you, Palmer. Wow, this is really nice. By the way, Jules Verne is an author. I did not know that. I did not know that. But what did she write? Let me look her up.
Are you're joking, right?
No, I don't know who Jules Verne is. Is he being honest? It's an author. It's a French novelist.
You're joking.
I didn't know who this guy is.
Is this an inside joke or something, or
what? No, Jules Verne, French. Right here, it's a French playwright, novelist, poet, playwright.
I can't tell if you're joking or not.
I'm not. I just looked it up. I just Googled it.
Are you serious? Look at swear on the EU that you're.
I did.
Look at his bibliography.
All right.
You know everything he wrote. Come on, you're joking.
Are you joking? You mean joking? I don't know him?
Yeah. Look at his bibliography. You know every single thing he wrote. Guarantee it.
All right. He did Around the World in 80 Days, which I know about, never read. Journey to the Center of, which I know about, never read. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which I know about, never read. Mysterious Island, didn't know about that. From Earth to the Moon, didn't know about that. Okay, he wrote a lot of famous things, but folks, I didn't read any of these.
Oh no, but I mean, you know who he. But you. I was.
No, I did not know who he was. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
you know by way of his work, right? Which is.
Oh no, I know. Yeah, well, I'm familiar with those first three:
right.
Around the World in 80 Days, Journey to the Center of Earth, and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Actually, true story. I bought the game Around the World in 80 Days, and it was so daggum interesting to me. I did think about checking that book out at the library, but I didn't know who the author was. So, thanks.
So, by the way, so in Back to the Future 3, which maybe it's been years, right? There's a conversation that Doc has with Clara about reading Jules Verne when he was a kid, and she goes, "Wait, like that just got published, right?" So, anyway, yeah.
Yeah, everyone's like, "What? He does not know." I've read lots of classics, but not those, not those. And I mean, like I said, Andrew Dumas's Three Musketeers, I'd read as a kid the edited version, the child-sized version, but I couldn't tell you his name until about 4 years ago. I didn't know who'd written it. A lot of those, those are classics. You know the name, but you don't always know the author.
No, fair enough. Yeah.
Yes, I did finish Jaws: The Revenge. It's not good. the movie is better. That's how bad the book is. Recommend 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I'll be honest. To be honest, I should be reading some of those classics, but I'm not joking. Like Oliver and Around the World in 80 Days were two games I got. They're in the games come in these they look like books that slide out of their cover, but you open it up and it's a board game. And they're both really well done, great art. I love the box art too. And you can tell by some of the character names and the situations, obviously I'm missing something from the story. Like they took it directly from the story. And so stuff like that, like when I bought a Three Musketeers game, it got me to read Andrew Dumas's Three Musketeers. And those two, even though I want to say I read Oliver when I was a kid, but I don't remember. But
I just found out that there's a sequel to Three Musketeers, right?
Is there? Did he make one?
Let me see. Maybe someone wrote it now. Like maybe it's like a contemporary. Or
I don't know.
It's called,
Andrew Dumas did another one. I'd read it.
Yeah. I think there is. Yeah.
Man, I watched that, Rob D. I watched that movie as a kid on TBS, the older movie that came out. I used to love that movie. And those ogres used to scare the bejesus out of me. I think he's talking to you.
Cool. The Ragnarok. Oh, what an image. That's awesome.
I know.
Darth Revan
awesome
here. As Darth Revan, I think, is challenging you to not only read, but read it in French. So getting a lot of good.
What is the first sci-fi? I don't know. The first one, you're talking about the earliest one? I don't know. My brother would know something like that. He knows the first vampire story. It's called Varney the Vampire. My brother knows that type of information.
That's an interesting question. I guess it depends how you define it. I mean, you get kind of nerdy here. Like, what do you specifically mean by sci-fi, right? You know, like, there's anyway.
Okay. Yeah. No. I would say yeah. There. Both of us. Thank you. Chris doesn't have any content right now on his channel. No, I didn't read as many. I mean, I read Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I mean, Little Women, because you had to read that in school, or at least I did. Ivanhoe.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long time ago, though. I don't remember a single thing about Ivanhoe. I'm trying to think of what else. There's a bunch of classics you had to read for. Remember that? I don't know if you remember that Pizza Hut had that summer readers program. You read X amount of books, your parents stamped it, and then you could get a free personal pan pizza for reading.
Oh, yeah. Book it, right? Book it.
Book it? Is that what? Okay, yeah. Man, it got me reading. It got me reading. So some of them were the young adult version of classics, and then a lot of them were the young adult history of books, like the history of George Washington, the history of, and that's history was never a boring subject to me. That's why I majored in it. I just loved it. It was like story time. History does not bore me at all, and I've always loved it. So I used to, and when we moved here to Louisiana, I went to the library to see if they had any copies of that series, that history series that my one in Mississippi didn't. And they sure did. And I was like, whoa, we got to check out all these, Mom. And it's funny because I was looking for my mom's old copy, Mom and Dad's old copy of Three Musketeers. I couldn't find it. They said they gave it away to my brother years ago. I was like, well, I want to read it, but I don't want to pay for it. And my mom goes, you know, that's what the library's for, right? And I was like, oh, the library. So it'd been a while. You to jail?
I'm not in jail. No, I'm not in YouTube jail. I am perfectly free to post on YouTube.
Thank you, author. Look at that. What a guy. What a guy. Let's see. Oh, history. Alex, real history.
Yeah, I like what Alex says. History is just real life lore, and that's true. I mean, right? And so.
Yeah, no, it is. What's your important question?
Oh,
was that your important question?
I knew it.
I wish. Is this the guy? I wish that would have been a super chat. Clone Wars could work in place of S canon, considering the continuity errors had. You missed earlier where we kind of talked about a retcon. To me, no, I don't want an S canon. You know, it's part of the continuity with Star Wars. Chris, your thoughts?
I would say the only thing I'd say is that the benefit of the tier system is that there might have to be a couple of things that go up or down, right? So we start with T. We hopefully merge T and C. If some things don't work, you make it S. I mean, so it's never the case that one entire thing is either C or S or N canon. It's every individual character, instant, ship, plot point, right, is either this tier, that tier, that. Does that make sense, right? So that in some sense, right. It's like the question's almost so. Ray, I see what you're saying, but it's kind of like I don't know. Like, let's wait and see what they want to do with it, right? Take full advantage of S in a couple of instances, right? But on the whole, to Matt's point, yeah, it's like see how you could actually make it all sort of C canon. Where you can't, you've got S canon to sort of save the day. So they made the mistake of they took the entire thing and they raised it to T. No, take the whole thing and break it apart and see what works, what doesn't, and what doesn't.
Ooh.
Down, right?
Look at that. Look at that theory. Okay. A lot of TCW canon stuff. Yeah, go back and watch one of my videos. 3 things I'm done arguing about.
Likewise. Right. We just talked.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it's there, and I'm just, I've kind of said, because I've just said so much about it so many times and had this discussion so many times. It just, I'm not much for repeating myself. Not that I'm better and you should have heard me the first time. It's just that I just don't like repeating myself. I feel like a broken record if I do this.
Yeah, right. Here's the thing about, Ray was mentioning like the Evan Peel contradiction again. So it's like the thing about, obviously, talking about TCW is so controversial, right? People have already disliked this.
Topic.
But like,
topic.
But the whole thing is like, we're looking at it now trapped sort of in time because of the decanonization, right? We don't know what would have come later that might have officially and interestingly and narratively important, and in continuity sort of made sense of Evan Peel, right? So it's like, yes, right now TCW is a total mess and it was avoidable to boot. But we don't know if it had continued, how they would have continued to sort of like make sense of things, right? So with some of these questions, you kind of have to just, as unsatisfying as it is, you kind of have to table,
Yeah. And Fisher Bleach, don't apologize. I just said that, I'm just done. I'm not mad if anyone asks about it. People ask away, but I just feel that I always have this conversation. And by the way, Chris was the one, I think I said that in my video. Yeah. Chris was the one who suggested the idea. And I thought, that's a wonderful, I really love that idea. I was like, oh, that's neat. That's something different.
Well, so, and my thing is like, I've never had this conversation with Rave that I remember. So it's like, okay, I'll have this. And I know he's going to have it in good faith. But like, I really was prompted by that topic because it's just like the number of times I've had it with the same person over and over who already knows what they think. You're never going to move the needle, right? So some of the TCW is such a great question where it's like, you can discuss it till the cows come home. Everyone's views are basically fixed about it at this point, right? So it's just like,
exactly.
And he's asking, do the contradictions bother you though?
No, because I have this.
Absolutely, right? I mean, that's the whole point. Yeah, it's tough.
For me, I have this. And I'm happy with what they did for this. This was fine, whether official or not, whether intended or not. It is what it is, and I'm fine accepting it. I mean, I can sleep well. I mean, it was annoying when it came out. Obviously, it's annoying that Filoni didn't care enough to even ask or maneuver around. He did things purposely to blow things up to show that he was a big man and he gets to do his own thing, and I think he had very little regard for EU fans. I mean, that's obvious. And so that's what I think. But the thing is, though, that retcon, whether it is, it works for me. And I'm ready to move on and just talk about other things I enjoy.
By the way, I'm sorry to keep hijacking this, but
No, go ahead.
What were your initial thoughts? Presumably, when we saw the Clone Wars,
I've
said this before.
Outraged at the just lack of attention to detail, because every other author had made sure. Because I mean, who would the story about? Hold on, let me get his name. Doggone it, where is he here? Walter John Williams, who asked, "Hey, I want to use this Jedi. Can I use him?" No, we killed him off in a one line during Star by Star. Troy Denning killed her off in one line. Oh, dang. Well, who can I get? Well, can I have this guy? Okay. Can I say that he was part of Luke's first class? Okay. Can I do so many different things that he just put in, and he wanted to make sure if he could pay attention to detail. This is such a minor character that I totally forgot about this character until I started doing a study about Luke's first class. Totally forgettable character. But that Walter John Williams went to those extremes. Look at Ryder Wenham. Joe Bongiorno has an excellent article on his site that after that third Adventures in Hyperspace, he talks to Ryder about what all he went through to study for that. I've talked to Ryder several times myself. fantastic guy, and he'll tell you even the smallest little details of comic books he's written. He said, "Hey, can I tie this in?" He has an affinity towards Shaz the Empire. Wanted to tie a few more of those things in, his Breakout Squadron and stuff. So I mean, there's just so much attention and so much respect given to the fans by even children authors. John Whitman, Galaxy of Fear, the man was pigeonholed into writing a Goosebumps ripoff. He had to do that. Yeah. But he said, I'm going to shove as much continuity as I can into these books. Because I know that there's some 20-something-year-old grown man who's going to be buying them going, how does this connect? And to be honest, he's probably one of the most incredible authors because, again, children's book, but on top of that, he had to make it like Goosebumps, where every chapter ends on a cliffhanger. And that's hard to do. But he included so much continuity. I love Galaxy of Fear.
Yeah. And this is something it's kind of hard to remember now, but about TCW in terms of initial responses. First of all, look at the petitions that exist from 2008. There are news stories on nerd sites about how it was a mess. Leland Chee was responding to fans as early as 2008, as early as the first few episodes because the first season, right, the first couple episodes come out, it's not even in chronological order, right? Yeah. Disney literally had to put out a season 1 guide that confirms that they know
out of order.
Yeah. I mean, that's so yes, like trust us, like we were infuriated from the start, you know what I mean? And it was enough to make me walk away we all take breaks from Star Wars from time to time, and it was enough to make me kind of take a bit of a mild break for a while. I remember going to a con and seeing how a lot of kids seemed to be introduced to Star Wars through that. So there was a part of me that was like, well, that's cool. At least it's like doing something to appeal to them. But then when TCW became so predominant within the fandom, right? Every issue of Insider was another card. That's when I got really worried. But no, we saw this from like episode 1. So it's a shame.
No, yeah, it is. It truly is. I have not been paying attention to the chat, folks. Let's see. Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't appreciate it either for that. TCW has its problems. Still sit down and watch it. And by the way, and I'm kind of torn. I am torn to go through episode by episode. I told this to Chris. If I went through episode of episodes for Filoni's Clone Wars, I think everyone would be shocked at how many episodes I do enjoy. And those would mainly be within those first 2 seasons or 3 seasons before Darth Maul came into it. Because there are a lot of good episodes when he just focuses on the clones. There's a lot of good episodes I love. And I think people would be surprised to know how many episodes I did enjoy. Going back through it again, I purposely made a tally of ones I hated, ones I loved this time through, just to get a feel for it. And I was surprised, like, you know what? I got to be honest. That's a good episode. And there were several times I said that. It was earlier on in the series, and then later on, not so much. That was when it kind of, but see, Cad Bane, I love Cad Bane.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was the best thing to come out of Clone Wars, Filoni's. And then I love Dirge from Tartakovsky's. And everything about Tartakovsky's Clone Wars is just absolutely brilliant. And even the boring episodes that I remembered last time, when I watched them this time, I was like, this is really good. Yeah. So
I'm not into like statue collecting toy, but like one of the few statues I have is like of Cad Bane, because it's just so badass looking. Yeah. I mean, by the way, people would be really surprised at which episodes I actually really like, even from like, again, the Lost season. So go figure, right?
Yeah. And that's one of the thing. And well, hold on. I want to talk about this. I don't think that he was over the top, overpowered, because he was an alien species, of course, who could, you chop apart, he could form back together. But he was a bounty hunter who was a challenge to the Jedi who didn't use the Force. And I like that. something different. And only someone, Tartakovsky came up with an idea. He didn't want to use a Dark Jedi or a minion of Count Dooku. And I liked that idea for Dirge. So Dirge was a menacing threat. He was scary. And you can kill him. They do kill him later on, which I thought was unique too.
By the way, he's a Phantom Menace, right? I mean, they think he's the main problem, right? Someone who they really can't, they're having a hard time contending with. Only to realize down the road, the real menace is the hidden one, right? So again, it plays a very Dirge, and that perceived overpower actually plays a really important narrative role, I think, in the prequel era.
Yeah. I never played Force Unleashed. Oh, no, that's a lie. I did play Force Unleashed. I thought it was okay. I never played it all the way through because I'm not into video games as much. Did you ever play Force Unleashed?
Yep.
And this was one you liked?
I guess, although I'm such a normie when it comes to any video games, like after 1984 or something, so that like whatever, I liked it, but yeah.
All right. No, but that'd be fun. From what I hear, Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down.
Right.
I hear this every year. I've heard this every year for 5 years. I'm sure. I'm to be honest, I'm waiting by the phone. So I'm sure they're about to call me. Lucasfilm's about to call me for it. But yeah, I'd love it. Let's put what if I was. Here's the surprising thing. If I was put in charge of Lucasfilm for whatever crazy reason, I saved Kathleen Kennedy's life or her children's lives, and she's like, "What? Ask me of anything." I said, "I want to take over Lucasfilm." The only thing I'd want is I say, "Look, I'd like to be put in charge of Legends."
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't overturn anything new that they have. I wouldn't, because there's people who enjoy the new stuff, so keep it. But I would say, okay, guys, we're going to have a little bit more order, structure. We're going to continue the continuity since they don't really care about continuity that much, and they don't think fans should either. Great. I'll do a Legends thing that doesn't involve any movies. I won't ask for movie money either. And heck, I don't even need TV shows. They don't want to give me TV shows. And I want to get good continuity that rewards the reader as they're reading through this. And I would just enlist books, comic books again, short stories. I do everything I could. I would restore the forums or do something like the forums. The forums are a little bit outdated now, but I would do something like the forums where you could sit here and chat with one another, or do maybe YouTube videos with the author of the new Legends novel, blah 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 blah. And fun stuff like that. I mean, I would really just want to take over the Legends division, or just create a Legends division to where we could start getting out another side story. Because obviously we can do it. Obviously, with what Star Wars Ronin, they're willing to do it. So just give me a shot. That's what I would want. I wouldn't get rid of, the new stuff, because like I said, there are people out there who do enjoy it, and that's fine by me. What would you do if Lucasfilm gave you the keys to the kingdom?
Yeah, that's plausible, right? So I don't really know. Yeah. Again, yeah, I would immediately demote myself to just the head of the Legends wing. I mean, obviously, yeah. Right? Yeah.
Demote yourself. That crack me up. You liked us. How do you block a user on your? I'm kidding. I don't care. That's fine. A lot of people do. She annoyed me. Kid Tales of the Galaxy Volume 1 and Volume 2. You know what? If I would definitely do a collection of all the StarWars.com comic strips and put them in a collection. I'd commission these other hard to find comic strips and put them in like a Wild Space Volume 3 collection. I would definitely look at all the unpublished magazine, like Star Wars Insider's doing, except I'd have it all out. We'd start commissioning other things, and if Star Wars Old Republic wants to do something like an adventure journal style, That'd be fun too. Because the more the merrier. And it doesn't have to be what I call the main story, Luke, Han, and Leia, even though I would let that adventure go on. But I'd like to see other aspects of other heirs, of characters we don't even know. Because it's such a huge universe, you can tell other stories. One of the things about Fantasy Flight, and I can't remember, I'm trying to look here and see if I can find it. There's one that is, maybe it's Beyond the Rim, or Into the Under. It's about settlers colonizing a new planet, and the ship's leaving, and they won't see them till next year. And the guy's wondering, what will this colony be like in 1 year? And I was thinking, what a fantastic story to tell in the Star Wars universe. Because they did colonize planets,
right?
And maybe fun things happen. And a frontier story in the Star Wars universe that intrigues me. You get someone like, and I'll be honest, I know who I'd get for it too, John Jackson Miller, just because of how I loved how he treated Kenobi.
Sure. That's a way of really actually literally expanding the universe, right?
Yes. And I would, there's so much that I would love to do that's outside of the main storyline. Because I think there's a lot of, because I want a story about someone who really truly believes in the Empire during its height, who's proud to be a TIE Fighter. They had the X-Wing series. Michael Stackpole would now make a TIE Fighter series. I mean, it's stuff like that I'd want to see. And no one ever talks good about the Separatists. So why not? The Separatists had their reasons to leave the Republic, and some of them were probably really good. Remember, George Lucas said in the scroll, there are heroes on both sides. Yet we never knew who the heroes were for the Separatists. That was a completely missed opportunity for no, that was in the scroll of episode 3. Pardon me, but that was a missed opportunity by Filoni. There's several missed opportunities. Holy cow, that's what the video should be about. Missed opportunities by Filoni in the Clone Wars.
Sure, absolutely.
Where's my notepad? I can start writing these down now. I'll find it in a minute. I don't have it with me.
I saw an interesting discussion online recently, and I don't know where or how this was settled or something, but someone was talking about how it was their and I don't know if this is true or not, but it was their recollection that the original vision for the Filoni Clone Wars was to be a place to highlight all of these like lower tier sorts of characters and scenarios and stuff, right? And so a huge missed opportunity was just to do these things, just to talk about the stuff in the background, the separate, all sides, right? Instead it becomes sort of like the Ahsoka show, and then in the Disney canon you find out like Ahsoka is like super important or whatever. It's just silly, whatever, even though like she's never referenced in episode 3, but huge missed opportunities to just really focus on like the actual obscure stuff. Each episode could have been little vignettes, didn't even have to be connected narratively, right? But
exactly New Jedi Order for me, Chris.
Yeah,
I like Legacy too.
Yeah,
but New Jedi Order is absolutely my favorite.
Yeah.
Hold on, there would probably be at your disposal. Can't remember what that's in reference to. I'm sorry, I haven't been keeping up with the chat here. I'm not allowed to talk to what's the word? Liberals? What is it?
Dark Shinobi calls them be liberal or
I can't remember what it is.
It's great though. You've got a ton of fake accounts right now commenting, although that the least they can do is actually spell words correctly. Oh well. Make it fun for us, but
I would rewrite the I would definitely commission novels from the video games, obviously, because I think that's such a smart idea. People play the video games and they'd love to have it in storybook form, like the Old Republic video game, the Knights of the Old Republic video. Everyone would buy it. Knights of the Old Republic novelization, a trilogy. I mean, that's just a no-brainer because the video games are so influential for the expanded universe. I would have done that with everything. And they did it for Force Unleashed, which I was happy because I read those, and I've read some of the comic books for Old Republic, but to have novelization of all the video games would have been fun too.
I am in retrospect only recently starting to question whether that was actually a good idea to make any sort of quasi novelization developments of games. I think I disappeared for a second, but I mean, considering that KOTOR and SWOTOR is still such an important part of the fandom, but like is so isolated, there are people who don't know that they're continuing the EU, and I from time to time hear people in that fandom talk about how they don't like that the novels nailed something down right. They wish they wish that the MMO nature of it was just a little bit more open-ended. I don't know. Maybe what I would do is I'd have novels set in that time period, but not necessarily directly related to the video game play. I don't actually want to.
A description of the actual storyline.
Yeah, instead of people. Yeah, give people anyway. So
yeah, no. I know what you mean there. Look at this. Works at Barnes & Noble. Sees more Legends being bought than new canon.
Good.
Interesting. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see what else I have. No, I wouldn't let the 2013 series continue. That'd be dead in the water. Let's see. Do you think Galaxy? Oh, there you go. There's a question for Chris.
Well, I mean, I don't entirely understand the question. I mean, she's both, right? So, I mean, if I think there's something about her that doesn't fit within sort of like the Legends mold or something, yes, only to the extent that, and I've said this before, like if you how do I put this? Like Matt did the great sort of like chronological reread, right? If you do the publication order reread, there's a problem, right? Which is that at the end of Star Wars, it's just the Ahsoka show. And so you take tens of thousands of years, and in the last period, sort of the Skywalker sort of, saga, and then it somehow makes Ahsoka this incredibly important. And that just doesn't really work for me.
Right. That is hilarious. To be honest, I would write a story about him. Yes, Cindel is, and the very end, she is mentioned at the end of a chapter. Admiral Drayson says that he needs to contact Cindel Tatwani she runs a little news place called the Life Monitor, and I think he's going to leak the documents, the Kamisai or whatever it was, documents to her to publish. Is that what it was? I can't remember. Chris?
I don't know. I was just sorry. I'm jumping ahead. No. Sorry. I was just thinking. You know what though? You could do a top 10 mentions only. What are the top 10 sort of little
one-off mentions?
Like Star Tours is mentioned, right? It's sort of hinted at, right? And Cindel and Black and things like that.
Wow, that's a good one. I have to think about that one because the thing is, I'm going to forget.
Right.
I'm going to forget. Let's see. Oh man, I'm so far behind. I'm so sorry, guys. Hold on. Okay, a lot of discussion here. Zim the Despot book. I'd do something more about Zim the Despot. Yeah, for real. Is that how you pronounce it, Despot?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I don't know, I've never heard it before. Good. I have no issue with Chris either.
You're either with me or against me.
No, I don't. I don't at all. And to be honest, I not because I've never seen these shows, but the thing is though, if people love them, I'm fine with that too. I just want you to know that I'm fine with that. But no, I don't think they would. I know a lot of people would love to fit them into their little head canon, but no, not me. And I think there are contradictions. I know there's contradictions with Rebels, and I'm pretty sure there's contradictions with Mandalorian. However, I have not seen those. Well, Stig has, and he says there are contradictions there.
It's moot. It doesn't matter. It's like by definition headcanon because they're separate continuities, right? So that's That's the tricky thing about the question in any event.
Yeah. My excitement to see the new Star Wars movies, turning to reading Star Wars books for the first time. Awesome. Did Disney? I've talked about this before when I think I called it the light side of Disney. I did the dark side of Disney. I did a light side, and what I said is one of the great things is, and I mean this, one of the great things is, as fans, we stopped arguing about the most pettiest things. Like, oh, Kevin James is not good. Oh yeah, well Timothy Zahn sucks, or whatever, And now you're more about appreciating just every little bit. And I mean, we still have the arguments on what sucks, but it's not mean. It's more mature, and it's fun. And with if the expanded universe is still going, folks, you wouldn't know me, and I wouldn't know you.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know you, and I think that is amazing. That's incredible, because how many people, and you can let me know in the chat, but how many of you thought you were the only you felt like you were the only person in your area who read Star Wars? Me. My best friend Bruce read it for a little while, then he got too busy with life and he stopped reading it, so then I'd have to tell him about it. But literally, I could not find anyone who read Star Wars books. If you did, it was like, oh my gosh, diamond in the rough. Now, of course, these were bestsellers, right? But I didn't find anyone in my area. But now there's so many people out there. And that's another thing. There are so many people doing so many wonderful reviews. I got to go back to Meg Reviews here, because, folks, she's doing something that she's taking the if you don't know about her, go watch her. She's excellent. Chris was the first one to tell me about her. And she takes a regular book review, but she prefaces it. She's very well spoken. Every single video is honestly written out with. She didn't just turn on the camera and just shoot. She has it laid out from the beginning to the end, and chapter by chapter, and pieces, and what she liked, what she didn't like, and why. And there's a deep dive. And what's it called? Analysis? What word am I thinking of? Analytical review. I can't remember if I don't know if that's the right word, but of the entire novelization, that is honestly some of the best stuff I've ever seen. So the thing is, I don't think like that. So that's why my series didn't mainly depend on what the story was about. Mine was a little bit. I do a little bit of what the story was about, a little bit about what I like, but then I like to show continuity. That was my big thing. I like to do that. I like to do some behind the scenes stuff if I could too. But she's so well spoken. She does such a great job. Her series is just really enjoyable. Her whole channel is enjoyable. I know, Chris, you saw it, but the one she did about audiobooks.
Mm-hmm.
What? That's awesome.
It's neat.
And I emailed, and she told me that it just kind of started off as a random idea for a video that turned into a deep dive study that turned out to be what it was. It's just so good.
And she dresses like a character from the book.
My goodness!
Talk about missed opportunities, Matt. I want to see you.
When she sat down, I believe it was in the you don't see her at first. She just pops on the couch with that rebel pilot costume. I fell at 2 seconds into the video. I was like, done.
Yeah.
I'm putting a like on this one because it's just so good. So the Meg is great. It's Meg Reviews. Mm-hmm. And she just put Meg Star Wars Reviews, and you'll see her. She's been on my channel before. I really need to bring her back. Yep. Just because she was so interesting. She had a lot to say. And she does new canon too. And but she is
perfect. No one's perfect, Yeah.
No one's perfect. No one's perfect. Sorry, single EU guys. But no, she was wonderful to have on the show, and I'd love to have her back. And honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I may invite her for a more civilized age.
Oh yeah.
She is just has so many great insights and everything. There it is. And shout out to her Heart of the Jedi binder. Yeah.
What is so cool about that is, and I mean, in case anyone doesn't know, like she had done a review of it before the book had gotten sort of republished. Yes. And yet, when she was on your channel, Matt, I asked her in the comments, like, how do you sort of get your EU news? How are you sort of plugged into the fandom? And she didn't really seem to be. So it's so pure. She just loves this stuff so much that she, she's not like a longtime follower of anyone. It just turns out she just loves Star Wars to the point that even as like an isolated fan who hadn't joined the wider community yet, she was still able years ago to know about the Heart of the Jedi when it first came out. Right? It's so cool. So
yeah, and that's really cool. But there's other people doing different. I mean, Spencer is doing individual issues, breaking down individual Marvel issues. I'm like, what? And I love it. I love it. There's more EU content out there than when there was years ago on YouTube. When the books and comic books were coming out, you'd see a review every once in a while here and there, but nothing like you're seeing now. And there's even more content. And I think that's another thing. Because to be honest, if the EU was still coming out, I wouldn't be doing videos on it. I'd be sitting down reading it and then watching other people's videos about it.
Right.
But so there is in an odd way. I've got completely off topic there, but there is a lot of good reasons why. Well, I say a lot of good reasons for the expanded universe being discontinued, even though that's not what I want. But yeah. Anyway, so I hope I answered that question. Now that I can't remember it, there is, there is. What tie-ins? I mean, the best one has to be Fate of the Jedi for me.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, Fate of the Jedi by far. I think. I mean, you can name a few others, but Fate of the Jedi to me would be the best one. If someone thinks they have a better one, then let me know. I'm interested.
I mean, I think he probably means things that are like part of the media tie-in, but like, yeah.
Well, he said it doesn't contradict. I mean,
no. In other words, he's probably thinking of like, there's like No Prisoners. Is that a good one? But you make a really good point about Fate of the Jedi. I mean, in the sense that
that was a tie-in to an episode.
Right.
I mean, it was a direct tie-in. So, and to be honest, it was a terrible episode too. I hated that episode. People are watching Luke and the Mando clips. I'm glad people like it. I'm just not interested in the new canon at all. I know about it, but it's not gonna, not gonna give it the time. Just not being stubborn, just because I just don't want to make the time for it. Crystal Star content, even the worst books ever deemed content. You know what? I said this before. I can't wait to reread Crystal Star, because since we've made such a mockery of it for so many years, I'm going to end up really enjoying this book, I'm afraid, and or appreciating it in a different light. And I hope to do that for all the books except for Dawn of the Jedi, because I did read something by Tim Levin recently, and he is I do not like his writing style. I'll just say that. I do not like his writing style at all. He wrote the absolute worst book in the Firefly series. It's a shame. Oh, another author, a new author I would bring into the EU is James Hargrove, who writes Firefly, because he gets it. He gets that series. He gets it. And I think he would get the EU too. I think I see a lot of dedication to his art. James Hargrove is, I mean, every time I read one of his Firefly, he's written 2, 3 now. It feels like a Firefly adventure. It feels like you're just reading an episode. It's so good. And that's who I'd. There's a few other people I'd take to. I think I think I've discussed this before, but Brandon Sanderson.
That'd be great.
He's friends with a few of those authors. There's Star Wars authors, and he's a prolific fantasy writer who I'm sure, I mean, he loves Star Wars too, and I'm sure would love to take a crack at a Star Wars book. And I'd also use him because of his name. Okay, he's got a big following too. Not that I want all big authors to write for, Stephen King's going to write the next Star Wars horror movie. No, I'm not going to do that. But I'm just saying that there's other authors out there that I'd even include into this list and see what they'd have to say. So, I mean, and then I don't know. There's a bunch of authors who've kind of retired or moved on to do other things that I would ask back. I don't know if Kathy Tyers is writing anything right now, but I'd be definitely interested in bringing her back. Someone's rereading it right now. What is Firefly? That's a TV show that was a movie, very short-lived, by Josh Whedon. Top 5 EU authors. That's not too bad. I think I mentioned that before, but not in its own video. I'll write that down. What was the one you gave me earlier, Chris? I forgot to write it down because we were talking.
Oh, top mentions.
Oh, top one-off mentions.
Yeah.
Mentioned. See, I got to write this down or I'll forget it. Because my brain don't work. Wait, hold on. I missed something. Well, Dylan, I know, and I've told you what I thought about that. No, I didn't hear about the Wheel of Time teaser coming out. I'll watch it. I'm not super excited because I'm always worried about how they screw up. Everyone thinks they're better than the book series, and they have to do something different and bigger or bolder and change up the book, and just make it like the book. I just want to visualize the book on screen.
Or how about this? How about just read the book, right? It's already a book. It's already there. It's
actually true. Oh, yeah, live action series would be great. If you think about it, though, I mean, why not just get an animated series? You know, they can do a good animated series on it. That'd be awesome. You know what? Fans love her. If she wanted to, yeah. Fans loved her. I didn't like her, but fans liked her. But you got to think in a business mind, that would be a good business choice. Michael Stackpole, when I said in one of his little writers' workshops, and he was like, sometimes you have to take out your likes and dislikes and go, hey, what's good for the business? What's good for the business? And Karen Travis would be good for business. So, yeah, maybe. Heck, I'd even ask Chuck Wendig to write one. You think I'm joking, but when we were talking about getting the rights for short stories for Twin Sons, I said, I was serious. I said, and by the way, if this pans out, I want to be the one to email Chuck Wendig and invite him to write a short story. And I was dead serious. I think that'd be hilarious, and I'd love it. Yeah, I'd heard some things about that, but these days, what aren't they doing to screw up your favorite TV shows? But Chris is right. Just read the book.
That's the first mistake. I don't care that they race swapped. Why are you making that? It's a book. Read it. You know. So that's why, like, I never understand. Like, people say that, like, one of the first things that Lucasfilm should do is like do adaptations of EU books, and I'm like, no, they're fine. They're fine as is. You know, give us new content. You know, rather than.
Exactly. Scott, I can only think of 3. I can only think of 3. I can't even think of 5 because I don't. And this is something I regret. I didn't pay attention or give credit to the artist in comic books as much as I should have. And there's only 3 authors 3 artists at the top of my head who wrote for, who drew for or did artists for Star Wars that come to my mind that stuck out, and everyone else falls into the background. I bet there's some wonderful artists who I don't know their name and I don't realize how good they were. But that's one thing I do regret on my comic book reviews, that I just don't talk about the art enough. OG Star Wars does. She's an artist. She always highlights the art. Stig knows that. They do coffee chats coming out tomorrow. I'm going to crash it for like 2 seconds and then book. It happens right in between lunch and then right when I'm about to jump back into work. But they'll point out the art style sometimes a lot, and I'm thinking, man, I missed that. Jimmy from Stupid Chainsaw Productions is a big comic book guy. He also used to do comic book reviews. He does every once in a while still too, but he'll talk about the art a lot. I'm thinking, very rarely did I mention how well the art was, and that was a missed opportunity on my part. I focused too much on the story when it came to comic books and not about the art. And comic books is also a visual medium where the artwork is very important. Good artwork can keep you into a story, can attract the reader, can flesh out the visual that the writer is trying to get across. And I just didn't give it credit enough. Do I like them? Yeah, yeah. The first one's great. The second one's okay. The third one sucks. The fourth one, hopefully, they'll be better. We'll see. But I love Keanu Reeves. Do I love John Wick? Do I love John Wick? Yes, I do. Yeah, I did see the Spider-Man trailer. It looks interesting. That's probably the only thing interesting that Marvel's doing right now. Even though I did enjoy their last TV show, Loki. Thought Loki was really good.
Oh, really? I just tried to watch the first episode, and it was just felt
You weren't
slow.
into it?
It felt slow. Yeah.
Oh, really? The first episode, Loki holds up his ticket. It's great, man. It's great. I just thought, and then Owen Wilson's drinking Josta, and they never mentioned that. They never mentioned that. Some kind of inside joke, but I know how many people know what Josta was. I can't imagine that many people knew what Josta was. But that is hilarious that in 2 episodes at least he's just drinking Josta and they don't mention what the joke is there. But I absolutely loved it. I absolutely Josta, folks, was a high caffeinated drink before energy drinks came out. They just they had these high caffeinated drinks. In Josta, there was a big deal. It was banned in a lot of states. It was banned in my state. And whenever me and my brother would travel, it was in North Carolina or South Carolina, they'd have Josta. And my brother would just clean out the entire row at the gas station and keep them. He'd drink one, I'd drink one. It tasted awful. If you want to know what Josta tasted like, go get a Bang energy drink, and the flavor is called Miami Cola. Miami Cola, because that's exactly what Josta tasted like. And by the way, Miami Cola does not taste good, but every once in a while, I have to get one because it reminds me, it tasted so bad, but we kept drinking it because it was banned in our state. And that was being rebellious. And I can't drink Miami Colas all day long, but every once in a while, I'll get one just because it reminds me of those rebel days, you know. I do, but to be honest, reading it the second time through last year was a bit of a disappointment because I realized how much it doesn't make sense. Like if they have all these magical items and creatures, they could have stopped Voldemort a long time ago. He didn't have a chance. And the thing is, though, it almost defeats itself. Like there's all these super powerful things, MacGuffins, that then she has to say, oh, now it's gone. So now you can't have it. Really? Because it'd be very helpful right now. You don't think Dumbledore would ask them to do that? Because that would be easy fix to get rid of Voldemort. And so it does have flaws. But as a children's series, I understand why it's loved. And I have copy. I mean, like I said, I've read them through 3 times now. But the third time I was like, Drismo would be one. Cam Kennedy would be the other one. Very good. And Dave Dorman. That would be it. Outside of them, don't know. Jan and John were great together. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. But there's more. I mean, again, to your point, I mean, we all tend to sort of overlook the artists and stuff. Like you appreciate the art even if you don't know who the artist is. But like the Hildebrandt brothers, like back in the day, you know, like all the Star Wars Galaxy art and stuff. And you know, Dave's when I think of artists, I think like
I didn't think about that. I didn't think about them. That's a good one. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Dave Seeley is a really good one. I've come to appreciate. So he did he did Escape from Dagu. He did Shadows of Mindor. I mean, just interesting. Yeah.
See, you keep, and that's good. And see, I'm embarrassed because I couldn't name that many artists. For some reason, the artist did not concern me. I liked the art or didn't like the art, but if it was constant, you could tell Jan Turismo, Cam Kennedy, no one ever drew like him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Dave Dorman, you can instantly tell it's a beautiful masterpiece. Yeah. I forgot about Hildebrandt. Didn't they do cards, Star Wars Galaxy collector cards based off some of that art? I think they did collectible cards too, and they were beautiful.
Great stuff.
I forgot about them. That is a good one.
Every one of those issues had posters from them, and there actually is there's 2 volumes of art books just about Star Wars Galaxy that obviously they feature heavily in. And actually, the cool thing about them is this isn't talked about a lot, but I'll have to show it off someday. But they did an episode 1, kind of like kids book, which is really cool. So like the Hildebrandt episode, yeah, it's neat.
About the movie?
Yeah, it's like a tie into the movie.
Okay, that's okay. Wait, it's not expanded universe stuff, is it?
Well, sort of, right? In the way that I'm a bit more expansive about this, right? Like, no pun intended. I mean, I sort of think yeah, but we'll talk about that.
Thoughts on Greg Keyes? I enjoyed his New Order book was Edge of Victory, and he did something else, didn't he? He did Final Prophecy. It's all right. He's fine. Man, whoa. Wow.
That's cool. That's good.
No coffee chat. Laura Starr's getting way. Look out. Well, congratulations to her then. Topps Galaxy trading cards. That's what it was. Thank you, Scott.
Yep.
Thank you, Scott.
Scott with the card knowledge once again.
Wow. Yeah, of course. Of course he has it. You have hope for the new Ghost, but I hear all those movies are now going to be delayed. I feel bad because Matt the Geek Addict is a huge Ghostbusters fan, and he's been waiting for this movie to come out for like 2 years now. 3 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, Jack. It's good. It's good to be back. It's been a while. That's why I wanted to do this one. So funny. What do you want? Wait. I want to get in Warhammer. I mean, old stuff. Don't know what that one means. Trying to catch up. Let me see. Like East. Yeah, I did. I like Legacy of the Force. I like Fate of the Jedi too. Thought they were fine.
Mm-hmm.
Drew, who is that? Do you know who that is?
Oh yeah, he's the guy that did all the among other. Why can't I say this? He did well, I've drawn a blank. I guess I'm too tired. The movie posters. He did like when they kind of re-released the movie posters. So he did a lot of that great art. He did the poster art for the prequels. So he's a fantastic artist. Yeah, no, that's a really good point, Scott. Yeah.
Okay. Draken Solo is good. Did I not mention him?
I didn't get to see your video yet. I can't remember.
Did I not mention him, Alex? Because if so, I should have added him in there. I do like Thraken Solo.
Yeah, Matt. Actually, you've got Struzan covers on. Don't you have like? I swear, one time in a video of yours, I saw you had some like little postcard size book covers, like the art from book covers, like framed on your wall. That's Struzan. So he did a lot of the Bantam era covers.
No. That was the postcard ones are Dave Dorman's art.
Oh, okay.
I bought those from Dave Dorman's table. I got the ones I wanted were some Dark Empire ones, the Boba Fett one from Young Jedi Knights, Dark Empire 2, Crimson Empire, and it was buy 2 get 1 free or something. And I only had 5, and there wasn't a 6th one I wanted, so I got one of Darth Vader and Batman having a lightsaber battle.
Nice.
I mean, it just because there was just nothing. I mean, not to be mean, but there was just nothing else that interested me. And those were the 5 I wanted. He said, it's buy 2 get 1 free. And by the way, Dave Dorman is probably one of the nicest guys you'll meet.
Oh yeah,
he's so friendly. He'll talk about anything. You want to talk about light cider? He'll bring it up in conversation. He'll even tell you all about it.
Absolutely. Yep.
So he's really he's a really good guy. Dave Wolverton. I can't tell you how much I love Dave. I'd definitely bring him back to write another novel, a trilogy of novels if you wanted to. That man is just he's got all the patience in the world. He's so calm, cool, collected, and he's just an awesome, awesome guy. These are some of the most awesome people I've talked to. Troy Denning was super nice to me. He opened up to me about the ideas that he had to write, going forward, which nowadays authors like, I didn't have any ideas. It's like they want to hold on to those ideas because they may use them for another day. And like Christy Golden, What? Sword of the Jedi? No, I wasn't writing Sword of the Jedi. I bet
I've never
that's
heard of Star Wars
fans
before.
now. Say what?
Yeah, she's like, what's Star Wars even, right? You know.
Yeah, what's Star Wars? I don't know what Star Wars. I never had anything to do with it. But with them, those are the nicest ones. I'm sure there's other ones I've met too. I'm trying to think. I mean, oh my goodness, how did I just mentioned him earlier? Michael P. Q. McDowell. I've only talked to him over the internet, and he is super nice. So, you know, that would just be and Kevin J. Anderson's fun to talk to too. You know, but yeah, it's just I've had him sign everything for me. So, but there's a lot of nice people. Michael Stackpole's got a lot of interesting things to say too. He was really interesting to talk to. So yeah, love to meet Jude Watson.
Mhm.
That may be one top, not top 5 authors. Top 5 authors I'd like to get autographs from.
Mhm.
Maybe do that one.
Give Jude Watson Rebel Force and see what happens, right?
To be honest, L. Mill Smith would have been on that list.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And woulda, shoulda, coulda. Well, Denny's going to say the same thing that everyone says. I don't even bother asking more. Right. They say, hey, look, Lucasfilm can do whatever they want. That's always been the case. And they're not going to, you know, bite the hand that feeds them by no means. Unless you catch, you know, Timothy Zahn hot mic on camera before Disney bought him out saying that it'd be a stupid idea to reset the expanded universe. You're not going to hear anyone voice their opinion on that now. But Denning, when I met him, was a cheerful guy, was happy to share information with me about, I mean, like they would at Comic Cons, that's how they wrote out the story for Legacy of the Force and the outline for Fate of the Jedi. They just, when they were all at a Comic Con together, they just find an empty room, empty ballroom, just kind of sit there, grab some chairs, and just kind of take notes and kind of jot down ideas of what they want the next story arc to be. Can you imagine being a fly on that wall and listening to it? In fact, of all those stories about when they were wondering how, because the whole story about how in Legacy of the Force, why doesn't Luke just shut down Jason? I mean, why doesn't he? Can, and he obviously his patience has to run out at this point and say, okay, Jason's gotten out of control. Now it's time to put the clamp down. You know, show him who's boss. So they couldn't find a good answer for that. Nothing made sense. Would he go on a side quest? Would he get captured? No, that's been done before. It's rudimentary, or it just doesn't make sense. And that's when, and they keep the name private. Someone said, we got to kill Mara Jade. And to be honest, I think I know who it is now. I think I figured out which author it was. But the reason they didn't say that name, they refused to say the name, is because of all the hard hate that Ari Salvatore got for killing Chewbacca. Fans were outraged at him, and he was just following orders. And it's not the person, you know, the book that killed Mara Jade isn't necessarily the author who wanted it to happen. You know, but they knew that whoever wrote that was going to get hated on by the fans already, but they couldn't say whose idea it was. And so that was the pact they made, never to say that, because they didn't want anyone, because they felt bad for Ari Salvatore. In fact, who was it that told me that? Stackpole. They all felt bad for Bob because he got unwanted hate. It was a great idea to bring Ari Salvatore from Forgotten Realms, well-known author, to give him the honor of writing the first Del Rey book to introduce us to this new galaxy and to give him this mega story with a mega death. They had no idea what the outrage of fans was going to be, and they hated that happened to him. And they thought the fans just overreacted a lot. So it's interesting. It's interesting to hear those stories and the reasons why. And I'll tell you one person I'd love to talk to. Is Sue Restoni.
Oh, yeah.
I would do anything to talk to Sue Restoni and ask her. Like shoot, I may still have her email, but I should email her. But Sue Restoni, to me, is just an amazing person who got it. She understood the fans. She understood what they wanted. To hear her talk about when Del Rey got the rights, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to disregard Bantam. And they said, we can't do that. So many followers have followed that. We need to stay true to that. Let's let's keep working and let's keep tying in the continuity. But you know what? Let's make it even better than before. And they did. And they did it to respect the fan. This is back in the day where you respected your clientele that bought your product. It's so foreign a concept these days, but I'd love to talk to her. And I'd like for her to double down on those Chewie killing haters and say, I still think it's a great idea. Like she was supposed to write, I've told the story before, she was supposed to write an essay in that book that A More Civilized Age with us. And she said, guys, I need ideas. So I sent her the idea. I said, hey, Sue, this is what I'd love to see. I want to see you talk about defending the death of Chewbacca. And I say, I even got the title for you. It's called Killing Chewbacca, and then semicolon, no regrets. And she liked the idea. She liked the idea of that. And because there's some stuff that she'd like to clear the air with and everything. I said, yeah, I think you totally should. And I'd love to hear that story from her. I'd love to hear it. Man. Now, she's probably, there you go. You know what? Another person I'd love to have is Bill Dietz. He's a nice guy too. I'd love to have him on there and maybe give us a little insight from Escape. You guys are giving me good ideas. Should maybe reach out to all those people there. But anyway, folks, I'm going to wrap this up. Chris, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Chris's time is very valuable, folks. So all those super chats didn't pay for half of what it cost me to have Chris on here tonight.
That's right.
But like I said, there may be a little bit of a surprise for next week. Don't know yet. Same thing as usual. I'll do my update. We'll do an official live Q&A. We'll do a few other things. I'm getting some games played this weekend, so I can get some board game reviews up, and then it's gonna be a lot of fun. You guys have given me, thank you for some of these ideas, because I really have been behind the 8 ball now, and I'm just now kind of coming out of my slump now, and I got to get back on to making videos again, because obviously all those videos I made for this month were filmed in July, because I had long hair.
Oh, I know, it's so weird to see that sometimes. Yeah,
I know. Well, I did my first Q&A with short hair, and then I was gone, and then everyone started seeing videos of me with long hair, and then going, what's going on here? And those were just all the videos, because I knew I was going to be too busy to do anything. And I'm sorry I haven't commented on the minis. I'm reading your comments, and I'm not making this up. I really just, it's so busy. I'm just now, today, getting some time to do this. But it's been a lot of fun. Chris, the question keeps popping up here, but when are you bringing your videos? When is your channel coming back?
As soon as Kathleen Kennedy just learns to love again and just lets me do my thing. No, I don't know. Soon. I mean, I didn't delete them. They're all there. I just privated them because I was away for a long time. I didn't want to have to deal with it. So they're all there. I don't know. Soon. It's a mystery. Let's just put it that way. Yeah,
there you go, guys. All right. So, guys, have a great weekend if I don't see you until then. And